Josh and I were childhood sweethearts. We had been in the same class since preschool. When I was 3, my mom dressed me in a little red dress for a school dance performance. It instantly captivated many of our classmates, but none more than Josh. He grabbed a tiny chair, sat next to me, and said, "Emily, you're so pretty. Can you be my girlfriend?" It was the first time a boy had complimented me like that, so direct and sweet. I blushed bright red. I didn't even know what a girlfriend really meant back then, but I liked how friendly and close Josh sounded. Shyly, I replied, "Okay." The next day, Josh went straight to tell our preschool teacher, Miss Charlotte. "Miss Charlotte, Emily is my girlfriend now." His serious expression made her burst out laughing. She teased, "Josh, so when are you two getting married?" He replied matter-of-factly, "When we grow up, we'll get married." When my mom heard about it, she laughed the whole evening. During dinner, she had to put down her chopsticks because she was laughing so hard. Even halfway through her bowl, she had to pause and say, "This is too funny." Before bed, she even called my grandma to tell her, "Mom, Emily has a boyfriend already. I can't stop laughing." It may have sounded like a joke, but I took it seriously. My mom did too. So did my grandma. Mom kept asking, "Why hasn't your boyfriend taken you out to play?" I looked at her, completely confused. I had no idea what she meant. She sighed dramatically. She even took the initiative to arrange a meetup with Josh's mom. When their family found out, they were both surprised and delighted. They fully supported the idea of Josh and me being close, especially Josh's mom. Once she learned I was a well-behaved little girl, she started treating me like her own daughter. Whenever my mom wasn't around, she would bring me home, take care of me, bathe me in the evenings, and even wash my little clothes. Out loud, I called her Mrs. Miller, but in my heart, she felt like a second mom. My grandma was a real character. She used to joke that Josh wasn't handsome enough, but still called Josh's mom Emily's mother-in-law. Back in preschool, Josh was a little wild. He ran around everywhere, non-stop. Our teacher, Miss Wendy, used to say, "He's definitely going to be a poor student when he starts school. He's been behind since he was little. Don't even think about college. He won't even make it through high school." Josh was always getting put in timeout, and every time I saw it, I got so mad. But Josh's mom had no idea how he was acting at school. Josh didn't realize what was happening, nor did he know how to gossip. I told my mom everything, and she immediately reported it to Josh's mom. Josh's mom was very protective of him. She went to the preschool herself and spoke with Miss Wendy repeatedly. Eventually, Miss Wendy stopped bringing up Josh and didn't put him in timeout anymore, but her temper was still bad, and she needed to punish someone to release her frustration. Since she wasn't punishing Josh, she turned to another girl in the class, named Katie, who was very into studying insects. Miss Wendy scolded Katie, calling her a girl who had no shame, always playing with bugs. Such a weirdo. Katie was left stunned and confused by the reprimand. I told my mom about this, and she told Josh's mom, who then reported it to Katie's mom. Katie's mom, a very kind woman, was furious and marched with her daughter to Josh's house, intending to join forces and sue Miss Wendy. Josh's mom didn't immediately react. She asked me, "Josh must be causing trouble all the time to get punished like this, right?" I told her, "Josh just likes to play, but he doesn't do anything bad." She seemed to think it over. Then she told Katie's mom, "All right, let's not sue her." She said the environment was already bad, and if it were better, how could they tolerate a teacher like that? She planned to move Josh to a different school once he entered elementary. The truth was, we only had about a month left until graduation. We went to the best preschool in New Haven. The average income per person in New Haven was under $5,000, but the tuition at this preschool was over $400 a month. I was a well-behaved child and listened to my teachers, so I was very popular with them. By graduation, I had learned to recognize 1,500 characters, and everyone praised me for being so smart. My mom was so proud. Josh, on the other hand, struggled to recognize about 15 characters. But he didn't mind at all. Instead, he happily said, Emily really knows a lot of characters." Josh's mom just smiled and said, "Josh is very clever too. He's only 6, and he can fix all kinds of toys." As for Josh's dad, he was worried sick, complaining, "Look at Emily, she's really a study genius. But my Josh, he's hopeless." Josh's mom reassured him, saying, "Josh was raised by his grandfather, who doesn't talk much and loves fixing things. Josh just follows him." My mom nodded and said, "When Josh grows up, he'll definitely be just as good as anyone else." Josh's mom was very determined. When Josh entered elementary school, she moved the family to a suburban area and chose a newly established elementary school near their new home, one that emphasized natural learning and enjoying the process. Katie's mom also moved with them. She said, "Sometimes a strong woman has to move 3 times. If this place doesn't suit us, we'll leave." The area they left was the one with the best educational resources in New Haven. My mom and grandma were both shocked when they heard this. "Are they really moving? Are they actually leaving?" they asked. Everyone else was scrambling to get into that neighborhood, and they just up and left. I felt so sad when I heard this. Josh and I could have gone to the same elementary school. We lived right across from each other, both in the same school district. But now he had moved far away. My dad, seeing how sad everyone in the family was, said, "Far. It's just a 40-minute drive. Just a few gears and we'll be there." My mom thought about it and agreed, so we started making plans to meet up every semester. After the first semester of elementary school, our 2 families planned a trip together. I complained about the homework being so much that I was nearly crying. My mom said, "Look at Josh's homework. It's even harder than yours." His teacher made them count 10,000 grains of rice, 8,000 mung beans, 5,000 soybeans, and arrange them into shapes and send pictures to the teacher as proof. While I was busy figuring out what 7 plus 8 was, Josh was hunched over, counting each grain of rice carefully, but still hadn't finished. I felt so anxious watching him, so I took the initiative to help. He was so happy, holding my hand and excitedly saying, "Emily, you're amazing!" I was happy too, but I said, "Josh, you're the one who's amazing." Just a few months later, Josh had caught up to me in terms of the number of characters he could recognize. Not only that, but when we met up at the beach, Josh built a whole castle and estate with a small shovel. I could only make a few lumps of sand shaped like dumplings to serve as food for everyone. Every time I'd complain to my mom, "Why can't I build a castle like Josh?" My mom would laugh and say, "Josh is a boy. He'll need to build a family later. You, on the other hand, just need to make dumplings. That's enough." Josh led me to catch little crabs and shrimp under the rocks. At first, I was too scared, but he guided me, and when he caught one, he'd hand it to me. He wasn't scared at all and didn't try to make me braver. He just focused on catching them, and eventually, I followed suit. After catching 2, I was so into it that I started catching them even faster than he did. When we walked back to the sand with our buckets, we were covered in mud. My mom saw us and was so happy, laughing and saying, "2 little mud monkeys, just 2 little mud monkeys." Josh handed his bucket to his mom and said he wanted to take it back to New Haven. My mom said, "Oh, it's too heavy. Just let them go once you're done playing with them." I wanted to take some home too, so I pleaded with Josh's mom, "Aunt, can we keep them?" She thought for a moment and then said, "All right, but there are too few. On the way, they might die. Go catch a few more so you can at least take 1 or 2 alive." Josh and I jumped for joy. On the drive back to New Haven, each of us held a bucket, staring at the creatures inside, terrified they might die. Fortunately, when we got to Josh's house, 3 of the small fish in my bucket had died, and 4 in his. But the shrimp and crabs were still alive. We were so excited. After 3 days of keeping the animals, Josh said, "Let's let them go." I asked, "What do you mean, let them go?" He replied, "We'll release them into the ocean, into the river." I said, "Okay." Josh's grandfather took us to a small river near their house, and together we released the creatures back into nature. Watching them swim away, we felt so happy. I was happy when I caught them. I was happy when I released them. Maybe that's what childhood joy is. Time flew by, and we were in second grade. Every time we met, my grandma would compare who was taller. I was growing slowly, and so was Josh. Both of my parents were tall, but I didn't grow much. My mom said it was because they fed me too much when I was little, and the nutrients got blocked. Josh didn't grow quickly either. His mom said, "Both his parents are short, and Josh turned out taller than expected. That's already great." That's how our moms were. They always found a reason to support us. Neither Josh nor I had any issues with our growth. Every time Josh saw me, he was so happy and showed me the things he liked to do. But, being a boy, he was good at climbing and running, and the things he played, I couldn't try because I was wearing a dress. I could only watch and wish I could do them. Josh seemed disappointed and told me, "Emily, this game is really fun." "Girls can play too. My girlfriends in class are even better at it than me." I didn't answer. At that time, I liked video games, so I invited him to play, and he was very interested and played along with me. I liked making cakes and cookies, and he joined in and even played more eagerly than I did. I told my mom, "I want to play the games Josh plays." My mom replied, "No, those games are for boys. You're a princess, and princesses don't play dangerous games." Josh's mom rarely interfered, but she said, "Emily, being a princess in this society can be tough. On the other hand, strong girls have it easier." My mom took that to heart and bought me 2 pairs of pants. I tried climbing too. After playing for a few hours, I told my mom, "It feels so rewarding." My mom was excited and said, "All right, we'll become female warriors from now on." Before, my mom called me her little princess, and I acted the part. Weak, crying easily, scared of everything. But after I switched to being a female warrior, I felt much stronger and happier. It was such a great feeling. When I saw my mom carrying things, I grabbed them and carried them myself. My mom said, "Wow, you really are a warrior now." My dad was a bit disappointed. He preferred a gentle, delicate daughter. But my mom said, "Since becoming a warrior, you've been in the hospital a lot less." My dad didn't say anything further. By the time we were in 5th grade, Josh and I went swimming together. Josh could only swim freestyle, but I swam breaststroke, freestyle, and butterfly in rotation. It left him wide-eyed, staring without blinking. He said, "Emily, didn't you used to be afraid of getting in the water? When did you become such a fish?" My dad, sitting next to us, laughed like a duck, saying, "This girl's been secretly practicing, just waiting to surprise you." Josh said, "Uncle, I'm impressed." While soaking in the hot spring, he sat next to me and said, "I need to learn all the swimming styles you know. They look so cool." I splashed the water with my feet, feeling a warm sweetness inside. In 6th grade, Josh and I had our first argument. I got really angry at him. At home, every time I got upset, my parents would get caught up in it. My dad would get mad, and my mom would get fiery. The more they reacted, the more impulsive I became. But Josh didn't do that. He just sat quietly, listening to me vent, waiting until I finished. Then he gently invited me to keep playing. I followed along. I realized, I didn't know when, but my anger had completely disappeared. The distance between us also vanished. I was really surprised. I didn't know it could be resolved like this. On the way home, I told my mom, "Why didn't Josh do anything, yet we made up?" It was like he erased the distance between us without a word. My mom was amazed, saying, "Wow, his emotional intelligence is really high." She told my dad, "I thought Emily was the smart one, but it turns out Josh is the real master, turning her bad temper into nothing." My dad was equally stunned. He said, "I've been her dad for 11 years, and I lost to a kid who I only see a few times a year." He added, "I can't wait for the day she marries Josh." Throughout elementary school, Josh's performance was average. I was the top student, always leading the class from 1st grade to 6th. My mom was always so proud of me. Josh's mom, on the other hand, was super laid back. She said her grandchildren would inherit Emily's good looks and IQ, while they would focus on making money. Both of Josh's parents were well educated, had stable jobs, and good incomes. His dad was stricter, while his mom just wanted him to be healthy and happy. She wasn't just saying that for fun, she truly believed it. Josh didn't study that much, and teachers often talked to his mom. She would listen seriously, but then turn around and tell Josh, "The teacher said you study really hard, and your homework is always finished." In reality, the teacher had mentioned how Josh was often distracted in class and left his homework incomplete, but his mom deliberately translated it the other way for him. When my mom heard this, she asked, "Do you think this might harm Josh?" I was a little worried too, recalling what Miss Wendy said back in preschool about Josh not making it to high school. I got into the best middle school in our area. Josh went straight to the middle school attached to his old school. By the time we reached middle school, I still maintained my top student status. I thought Josh was still the same as in elementary school, but to my surprise, things changed. In middle school, Josh suddenly became passionate about geography, then history, and eventually, he loved every subject. His academic performance skyrocketed. Despite attending a regular school, he consistently ranked in the top 20 of his grade. His dad was shocked. A colleague of his dad's had a child at the same school. This mother highly valued academic achievement and signed her child up for all kinds of extra classes. Josh had been one of the top students in elementary school, and in 7th grade, he maintained the top spot. However, by 8th grade, his grades started to slip a little, though he still remained in the top 10, far below expectations. Josh's dad told me that he once asked Josh, "Why suddenly do you want to study so hard now? Your mom doesn't care, and she doesn't want me to manage you either. But now in middle school, you're so focused on your studies." Josh replied, "I played enough in preschool and elementary school. In middle school, I saw that studying was a real challenge, so I started focusing on it." When Josh was little, his grandma used to worry that he wasn't good at school. When Josh reached middle school, his granddad said, "My daughter is really good." She didn't need to teach him anything, he started studying on his own. Josh had always had a great relationship with his mom. He once told me, "My mom always fulfills my wishes, even when I don't want to do my homework." His mom had even helped him with his homework just so he could go to bed before 10:30 p.m. He told me, "Emily, pay attention to my mom. When we become parents, we should be like her." He said this seriously, and I felt embarrassed. He was praising how his mom raised him, but it felt like he was teaching me how to raise our kids in the future. He was still a child, and I had already entered the stage of puberty. By 9th grade, I was directly accepted into the best high school in New Haven, which was also affiliated with my middle school. However, I still had to take the final exam. With my place already secured, I started to get a little cocky. In the final stretch, I organized my classmates to stand up and protest against some unreasonable school rules. For example, girls weren't allowed to wear pants or skirts with pants underneath. They had to wear one-piece dresses. I talked to Josh about this, and he fully supported me. He even helped me by providing proof that at his school, girls wearing skirts over pants was completely normal. My mom told me to hold back a little so I wouldn't lose my chance at direct admission. I was so angry and determined to fight for the rights of the girls. My mom told Josh's mom about the situation. Josh's mom said, "This is the passion of youth. If you don't speak up when you're young, you might regret it for the rest of your life." But she, like my mom, told me not to let it affect my studies. After the citywide mock exam, Josh's scores were stable in the top 10 of the whole school. His mom said, "He's definitely scored high enough to get into the best high school in the city." But I really hoped Josh would get into my school so that we could study together again. Josh said he'd do his best. When the midterm exam scores were announced, I cried like a hedgehog being poked. If I hadn't gotten direct admission, I wouldn't have had enough points to get into my school. Josh, however, made a huge surprise. He ranked 3rd in the whole school, hundreds of spots ahead of everyone in the district. Except for a few top-tier schools, Josh's scores were high enough for almost any good high school in New Haven. In fact, his scores were several points higher than mine. My mom was shocked. It turns out Josh was really good at studying. But he declined the opportunity to go to a city school and chose the best high school in his district. His mom said, "If you go to the city school, you'll be in a regular class, but if you go to the district school, you'll be in the top-tier experimental class." That was Josh's choice. He told me, "Emily, no matter how hard I try, I won't make it into Tsinghua or Peking University, but you can. Keep going. I'll study hard here so I can get into a 985 university. I'm smart. As long as I'm not lazy, getting into Tsinghua or Peking University won't be a problem." Josh's mom told my mom, "Josh just needs to get into a key university in New Haven. That's enough." My mom replied, "This boy, you can't go wrong with him." I thought Josh's mom was just saying that, but to my surprise, when we got to high school, parents started quietly pushing their kids, even if it wasn't the right way to do it. But Josh's mom really didn't force him. She told him, "You need to go to bed before 11 p.m., latest by midnight." She added, "Your life is long. Your health is the most important thing. Getting into a university is good enough. If you can get into a 211 university, that will make me happy." That was the first time Josh disagreed with his mom. He said, "But I'm not satisfied." She asked, "Why?" He replied, "Because the gap between me and Emily is just too big." She was silent. That was Josh's future. He was 15 and had his own thoughts and goals. My mom told me this, and my heart raced. Josh's future already had me in it. At the high school sports meet, I didn't register to compete because on that day I sat in the stands, feeling melancholic. Josh's school also held their sports meet on the same day. He participated in the competitions. Although he wasn't outstanding in sports, he saw it as a way to have fun. He liked soccer, but his skills weren't great, and he had been a substitute for 2 years. But he never gave up, practiced hard, and actively participated, eventually becoming a regular player. Josh is a very special person. If he likes something, he can persist for years without getting bored. For example, he's played soccer for over a decade, and the same goes for his feelings. He liked me, and he always persisted. The way Josh expresses himself is not flamboyant. No sweet words, no overt gestures. But I can feel it clearly. For example, during the sports meet, his class organized a paired dance where boys and girls held hands and danced. Josh actively gave up the lead role. He sent me a video and asked me to guess where he was. I looked carefully, and among the pairs holding hands, I couldn't see him. He was standing at the back, happily waving a flag. His hands weren't holding anyone's hand. Their teacher said, "This is the kind of appearance youth should have." What kind of appearance should youth have? I work on my homework until midnight every day. My youth feels incredibly tiring. I study at the best high school, often envied by others. But deep inside, I'm very envious of Josh. If we end up together, I think our children should follow Josh's path. His mom is right. Health is the most important thing. I'm so tired. Finally, the college entrance exam arrived. Josh's performance remained consistent, climbing since the mock exams. As for me, like the mock exams, I was directly admitted as a top student. But I still studied seriously for the college entrance exam. If I do well, I want to enroll in the 8-year program, bachelor's, master's, and PhD. Since the start of 12th grade, Josh and I haven't communicated much, and we've met less often. Our time was packed with schoolwork and exams. My mom said, "You both have direct admissions. You can take a break." But the truth is, I didn't want direct admission. The school with direct admission was prestigious, and the program was strong. But I wanted a more streamlined path, to study straight through to my PhD. I didn't want to take the master's exam and then the PhD exam. If I could get tired all at once during the college entrance exam, I'd rather get tired once and be done with it. Josh thought my idea was great, but he also reminded me that studying for 8 years wouldn't be easy, and I needed to prepare mentally. I understood, but I'd rather be tired now than continue suffering from the pressure of exams and competition. After the college entrance exam, both Josh and I achieved what we wanted. I got into the 8-year direct admission program at Peking University School of Medicine, studying in Beijing. Josh got into Zhejiang University, majoring in theoretical physics. His test scores were on par with mine, enough to choose Peking University, but he chose physics at Zhejiang University instead. My mom was concerned. What does this mean? Does he really care about you? He left after elementary school, didn't go to a city school for high school, and now he's choosing a university that's not in the same city as you. I felt sad too. I was old enough to fall in love. I wanted a sweet relationship, but now the college entrance exam was over. He still hasn't confessed. For him, I've turned down quite a few love letters. I have feelings for him, and I want to be with him. But what about him? He just keeps taking things slowly, so slowly. What am I supposed to do? Aunt came to visit me. Josh's mom still kept her calm and serene demeanor, just like before. Her gaze toward me made me feel like she was looking at her own daughter, or maybe even her future daughter-in-law. In any case, it was full of love and compassion. How pitiful. I've lived 18 years and still don't know who I truly am. I couldn't guess. Aunt handed me a card. There was quite a bit of money in it to help cover travel expenses for my trip to Hangzhou, all of which Josh had earned himself. I was a bit stunned, both happy and confused. Does he like me? Why didn't he come to Beijing? Aunt said, Josh has already said that he will likely work in Beijing in the future. Hangzhou is beautiful, and he wants you to enjoy it while he's still there. Oh, okay. But why didn't he say it himself? Aunt smiled and said, he said that when you were young, he already confessed. The two of you were meant to be. This time, he wanted the adults to witness it. Suddenly, my face turned bright red. My mom gave me a quick look and rolled her eyes. All right then, go ahead and go. I kept running, and my heart no longer wanted to go back. Aunt had bought Josh a small hotel-style apartment in Hangzhou, more than 30 square meters, with 1 bedroom, 1 kitchen, and 1 bathroom. Before I turned 22, every time I went to Hangzhou, I stayed in that apartment. Josh stayed in a dorm, but every day he'd come to invite me out, and every night he'd make sure to take me home. We traveled all over Hangzhou, eating all kinds of local dishes. Every corner of the city held beautiful memories. At 22, Josh and I registered for marriage. Our newlywed home was that little apartment. Initially, the property deed was in his name, but before we got married, he transferred it to mine. He said, "This is your premarital property. Just in case one day you get upset, you'll have your own space to calm down." Holding the deed in my hands, I just wanted to get him a football team right away. After we got married, I continued my studies. Josh had already graduated, but I still had 4 more years to go. He said, "1 PhD in the house is enough. I'll do business, earn some money so you can study with peace of mind. Later on, you'll be free to choose your job and not have to worry about having kids." He made money, but he didn't have grand career ambitions. His business ran smoothly. He started from his sophomore year in college, and by the time he graduated, he had a steady group of clients. At the end of the year, each employee received a bonus ranging from $15,000 to $30,000. It was a lot. The accountant asked him, "Did you open this company for yourself or for everyone?" He answered, "I want everyone to feel happy." His business partners didn't mind the large bonuses, but they did want to fire a few average-performing technical staff. Josh didn't agree, saying, "These are the people who've been with me from the start. As long as they don't leave on their own and truly work hard, I'll keep them." His business partner seemed dissatisfied. Josh took that person to Lingyan Temple and found a monk. After some time listening to the teachings, the partner stopped objecting. He realized and said, "If I don't hold it against them, how can I hold it against you? As long as you don't change your mind, I'll follow you for life." Josh laughed and said, "My mom practices Buddhism. She sees life very openly and rarely accepts people. I've been deeply influenced by her." As for me, I loved that influence. After we got married, every winter and summer holiday, I would rush back to Hangzhou, and for the rest of the year, Josh would go to Beijing. For 8 years, I traveled for 4 years, and he traveled for 4 years. In the end, he brought me to Hangzhou for good. I was happy to go, and my mom often visited Hangzhou as well. She stayed in that apartment longer than I did. For people from the north, the charm of the south is irresistible. She often said, "I didn't expect to be treated so well, all thanks to my son-in-law." My grandma passed away. She died in the second year after I got married. She left peacefully. Her entire life had a happy marriage, her daughter had a happy marriage, and her granddaughter had a happy marriage too. She said, "Amitabha Buddha, may the Buddha bless us." Since I took her to Lingyan Temple, she never stopped saying Amitabha Buddha. My dad was a bit reluctant. He said, "My daughter is beautiful, gentle, and a PhD. How could she marry a small-time businessman?" I replied, "Then I won't marry Josh." He immediately became serious and said, "No, Josh, I've seen him grow up. No one's better than him." It was the conflicted feelings of a father. As for my mother-in-law, there was no issue. There were no conflicts between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Besides praising me, she would only transfer money. My father-in-law was all right, just a bit too competitive. Every time he showed up, Josh and I would feel a little tense. He'd say, "You two clearly have the potential to achieve something big, but you're settling for mediocrity. What a shame." I thought, what a shame. Josh and I enjoy the life we have now. Luckily, every time he was about to finish speaking, my mother-in-law would immediately pull him away. Josh and I could only laugh. After graduation, I didn't join a hospital. I just felt too tired. Josh said, "You've been working hard since middle school. Take a break." What he said made me tear up. I found a job at a government agency. No night shifts, no on-call duties. The income wasn't high, but it was stable. The sense of accomplishment was great. Josh was always proud of me. As for me, I just loved him more and more. When our child started preschool, I suddenly remembered our childhood days. I even spent money to hire someone to find the phone number of our old preschool teacher, Miss Wendy. I called her and told her how amazing Josh had turned out. I told her that she was the one who was awful, unworthy of being a teacher, especially unworthy of being part of a child's early years. Before she could respond, I hung up. She must have long forgotten the things she said back then, but I would never forget. Josh just smiled.